In the 18th century, China stood at the center of the world. Under the Qing dynasty, it was a vast empire, home to nearly one-quarter of humanity. Its economy, culture, and technology had no equal in Asia. For centuries, China saw itself as self-sufficient, needing little from the outside world. But the world was changing. As the West completed the Industrial Revolution in the 19th century, China chose isolation. Foreign trade was tightly controlled. European goods were rejected. Instead, China demanded silver, draining Britain's treasury and throwing its trade balance into crisis. Britain found a solution. Opium, produced in British-controlled India, was smuggled into China in exchange for tea. At first, the Qing government tolerated it, but soon, addiction spread, society weakened, and the economy collapsed. When China finally banned opium, war followed. In 1839, the First Opium War erupted. China was no match for Western firepower. Defeat came swiftly. In 1842, the Treaty of Nanking forced China to surrender Hong Kong and open its ports to foreign powers. A second war followed in 1856. This time, Britain and France defeated China again, imposing even harsher terms. Opium was legalized. Foreigners gained the right to live, trade, and travel freely inside China. By 1860, Beijing itself was occupied. China, once the Middle Kingdom, had become a semi-colony. At the turn of the century, anger exploded. The Boxer Rebellion targeted foreigners and Christian missionaries. But an alliance of 8 nations crushed the uprising, occupied Beijing, and imposed massive reparations. China's sovereignty was slipping away. By the early 1900s, the Qing dynasty had lost all legitimacy. In 1911, revolutionaries led by Sun Yat-sen overthrew the imperial system, ending over 2,000 years of dynastic rule. A republic was born, founded on Sun's 3 principles of the people: nationalism, democracy, and people's livelihood. But hope was short-lived. After Sun's death in 1925, China fractured. Warlords carved the country into territories ruled by private armies. Chaos spread. The economy collapsed. China stood defenseless against foreign aggression. In 1926, Chiang Kai-shek launched the Northern Expedition, defeating the warlords and reunifying China by 1928. Yet unity did not bring peace. A brutal civil war erupted between the nationalists and the Chinese Communist Party, led by Mao Zedong. Then came invasion. Japan seized Manchuria in 1932 and launched a full-scale invasion in 1937. Nationalists and communists paused their civil war to resist the occupier. The Second Sino-Japanese War became one of the deadliest fronts of World War II. By 1945, nearly 20 million Chinese were dead. When Japan surrendered, the Civil War resumed. In 1949, Mao Zedong emerged victorious. The nationalists fled to Taiwan. On October 1st, in Beijing, Mao proclaimed the founding of the People's Republic of China. The world refused to recognize it. Mao moved quickly. Land reforms dismantled the old feudal order. Estates were confiscated, landlords were executed, peasants received land, but at a terrible cost. Collectivization followed. People's communes replaced private farming. Industrialization surged with Soviet support. Steel, coal, and electricity production soared. But agriculture collapsed. In the early 1960s, famine struck. Nearly 30 million people died. Mao retreated, then returned. In 1966, he launched the Cultural Revolution to reclaim absolute power. Universities closed. Traditions were destroyed. Millions were sent to labor and re-education camps. For a decade, China's education, science, and economy were paralyzed. By the late 1960s, China stood alone, cut off from both the West and the Soviet Union. Realizing the danger, Mao changed course. In 1971, the United Nations recognized the People's Republic of China as the sole legitimate Chinese state. Mao died in 1976, leaving behind devastation, poverty, and uncertainty. Then came transformation. In 1978, Deng Xiaoping took power and broke with dogma. He dismantled communes, introduced market reforms, and declared that it did not matter whether a cat was black or white as long as it caught mice. Special economic zones were created. Foreign investment flooded in. Shenzhen transformed from a fishing village into a megacity in a single generation. China's economy exploded. Growth came with inequality. In 1989, students filled Tiananmen Square demanding reform. The army responded with force. The world watched in shock. But China did not turn back. Through the 1990s and 2000s, China integrated into the global economy. Hong Kong and Macau returned. Entry into the World Trade Organization in 2001 unleashed an export boom. Infrastructure reshaped the nation. High-speed rail, megacities, and industrial zones rose across the landscape. By 2008, while the West fell into financial crisis, China surged ahead. In the 21st century, under Xi Jinping, China set its sights higher. Advanced technology, artificial intelligence, semiconductors, electric vehicles, and military power became national priorities. The country challenged American dominance economically, technologically, and strategically. Today, China is no longer a victim of history. It is a superpower, shaped by humiliation, hardened by struggle, and driven by a long memory. Its rise is one of the most dramatic transformations the world has ever seen, and the story is far from over.